Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Welcome to Nevada Newsmakers. On the broadcast today, we're going to do some analysis with Annette Magnus and Warren Hardy. It's all coming up next on an all-new Nevada Newsmakers.
Light up your July at the Carson Valley Inn. Win up to $25,000 in the All-American Progressive giveaways. $1,500 winner guaranteed each drawing night. And $30,000 in grand prize giveaways. Only at the Carson Valley Inn.
Welcome to Story County, where history meets innovation, and a pioneering spirit continues to shape our future. At the heart of the Tahoe Reno Industrial Center, we power the future with global leaders in technology and manufacturing, driving progress that reaches far beyond our county lines. From advanced manufacturing to tech innovation, our industries are creating thousands of quality careers, fueling a vibrant economy that benefits every Nevadan. But it's more than just growth. Our community is our foundation, supporting families, empowering local initiatives, and creating a place where everyone belongs. Be part of a legacy built on bold ideas and boundless possibilities. Join us in building a brighter future right here in Story County. Story County, helping build Nevada's future.
Meet Nevada Health Link, Nevada's official health insurance marketplace. Your link to savings, selection, free assistance, and name brand health insurance, where 90% of enrollees lower the cost of their monthly premium. Everyone deserves access to quality health coverage, no matter your income or family size. Visit NevadaHealthLink.com. A few minutes could save you hundreds of dollars per month.
Nevada Health Link. Our plans are made for your plans.
This is Nevada Newsmakers with host Sam Shad, a no-holds-barred political forum. Now, from the Nevada Newsmakers broadcast headquarters, here is Sam Shad.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we're delighted to welcome back to the program Annette Magnus. She is the founder of AM Solutions, and former State Senator Warren Hardy, principal with the Hardy Consulting Group. Pleasure to have you both here. Warren, I want to start with you. So where are we at this point with the Lombardo-Ford race, considering at this point the Ford campaign has not launched their on-air campaign yet?
Yeah, interesting race. I mean, obviously the Republican primary didn't surprise me. The Democratic primary did. That was, I'm not going to say stunning, but the margin of victory there for Ford, I think, surprised everybody. Ford's got to be very strategic. He doesn't have as much money as Lombardo has. I think the Lombardo campaign obviously feels like the travel issue resonates. And I will tell you this, I haven't seen anything from Ford other than online, but the stuff I've seen from Lombardo is really, really good. I think that's going to be a close race because of the national atmospherics. But I think Lombardo still needs to be considered a slight favorite.
I still have difficulty with polls. Not so much the private polls, but the public polls. I mean, year after year after year, we hear it's close, it's neck and neck, and then, you have a blowout.
Yeah, well, you kind of gotta rely on your experience, right? What your gut's telling you in some of these instances. And so I'm the same way with polls. It's really difficult. You take them with a grain of salt. You know which ones you can trust. I don't really trust a poll unless I can see the methodology. But my gut tells me just because the national atmosphere is now, if the economy improves and gas prices come down, it could make a big difference. And honestly, I think Lombardo's done a pretty good job of balancing the whole Trump thing. I remember Glenn Youngkin in Virginia did a masterful job of sort of keeping Trump at a distance, but sort of not alienating him. And I think at some level, Governor Lombardo has done that, sort of agreeing with Trump where he thinks it makes sense and staying quiet where it doesn't. So I'm going to stand by that, Sam. I think it's going to be a close race with Lombardo edging him out.
Annette, were you at all surprised at the difference between Attorney General Ford and Commissioner Alexis Hill?
No, funny enough, the polling that we were seeing with some of my clients actually showed exactly that. And, I think you could see that's why he wasn't debating her. That's why he wasn't engaging with her. They had obviously seen the same polling that we had, is that she was not polling the way she needed to be competitive. And so rather than wasting time and resources and energy going after her, he could be amassing money, start moving towards the general, and really start taking Lombardo on head on. I think you're not seeing the campaign start right away because of what Warren said. He does have less money. He has to be strategic. And we know over the summer, typically people are not paying attention, right? We're in 4th of July week. We have other things going on. People are traveling. Typically, you'll see a campaign like this start after kids go back to school around the Labor Day mark. And that'll be when people start ramping up their campaign activities. But no, I was not surprised about the Alexis Hill situation. It's unfortunate because I really like Alexis Hill and I think she had a lot of really great points, but I just don't think she ever mounted a serious challenge to AG Ford.
Okay.
And Sam, let me just interject real quick because I didn't have the benefit of those polls. What I was basing mine on was the fact that Attorney General Ford came out with a position saying he's going to repeal the right to work law. That seemed like a somebody who was very concerned about the outcome of the primary. That's a very difficult position for a general election. So that's what I'm basing it on. I thought, wow, he must really think he's got a race on his hands. Otherwise, why would he take that sort of, I'm going to call it an extreme left position that's not going to serve him well in the general. So that's why I reached my conclusion.
What's
Okay.
interesting about that, Warren, is that AG Ford actually just put out his economic plan, and that's at the top of the economic plan. So he's in the general election, not shying away from it. I had the opportunity to kind of review that economic plan before it was put out there, and work on some stuff around childcare with him, which is a really critical issue in the state of Nevada because we have huge childcare deserts all across the state. And so, seeing him roll that out, seeing him kind of stand on it and propose, repealing right to work and other things, I think you see that become an issue regardless of who's governor in the upcoming legislature as well.
Yeah, I really misread that.
Okay, well, I find the whole thing quite fascinating. Alexis Hill will be on the program next week, and I'm curious to get her opinion on what's been happening in New York and other elections around the country, because that I find quite fascinating. Annette, let's turn to the lieutenant governor's race.
Yeah.
It seems like this is going to be a much more interesting race, perhaps not financially, but in terms of visibility. What are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it is interesting. You have a competitive lieutenant governor's race with the Assembly Majority Leader, Sandra Howdigi, entering the race against Stavros Anthony, the current lieutenant governor. And I think that, her entering that race is both, a way for her to have a stepping stone into other political positions. But I also think it's great that we finally have a Dem in every, constitutional race on the ballot challenging the Republicans. I think, anytime you can have those competitive races, that's a good thing. It's interesting seeing Stavros start to pick up kind of that campaign mentality now. He had a rally with David Flippo at the Denny's in Sparks yesterday, which is interesting choice. But it's interesting to see him now getting out on the campaign trail. I saw him the other night at a Filipino event. So he's doing much more stuff that I don't think he's had to do before because he does have a competitive race and he is going to have to be out there pounding the pavement, asking people for their vote. And one thing I will say about Sandra is you don't have to agree with her politics, but she's a hard worker and she is somebody who will do what it takes to win. And so I really am excited about that race. I think it's great to see her enter and hopefully they have some great debates.
Warren, the current Lieutenant Governor, Stavros Anthony, has been all over the state, really building his reputation in rural Nevada. He already had a reputation from, being in the police force at Metro, being on the city council. So he's got long establishment both in Clark County and across rural Nevada. How much does that count when you see just what happened with James Settlemeyer?
Well, I think it matters a lot. In fact, I think because I agree with Annette, I mean, Sandra Hattigi is a formidable opponent, and she's smart and she's articulate, and well liked. So he does have to take this race very seriously. I think if I had to predict that if he's able to pull it out, it will be because of those relationships in rural Nevada. Close races are where rural Nevada makes a difference. I would again, I have no benefit of any data or polling, but my gut tells me I would be really cautious about associating too closely with Filippo. Because I think what happened there is there wasn't enough time or money. Settlemeyer did not have a chance to mount a campaign or raise money. He did a really good job in social media of describing the fact that, for lack of a better word, that Mr. Filippo was a carpetbagger and from Southern Nevada. But I don't think that sunk through because he didn't have the money. I think once that becomes evident, it's going to be very difficult for him. So if Lieutenant Governor Stavros Anthony's got to be very strategic in that because I don't think you can sort of wholesale go into that Filippo camp because speaking of formidable opponents, he's got a very formidable opponent who's well respected and well liked, and that could hurt him. But it's there's a potential there that all the time he spent traveling the state in rural Nevada could be what saves him in this race.
Okay, and just a quick answer to this. Stavros Anthony has high name recognition because of all of his travels. Sandra Hattigi has high name recognition amongst the political class and those that follow the legislature, but certainly not across the northern third of the state. I'm not sure how much she has with the general public in southern Nevada.
Yeah, I think she's done a good job in Southern Nevada, and she'll continue to up her name ID in Southern Nevada. I do think there is a political trend though, and there's a couple factors that may work in her favor. I think Stavros aligning so closely with Filippo may have the Trump effect, right? Filippo was very closely aligned with Donald Trump during that primary. And I think that is a tack line that she could use against Stavros Anthony for partnering up with Filippo now and doing events. I think, any Republican who is smart will see kind of the writing on the wall. And Warren's right. If the economy doesn't improve, if gas prices don't improve, aligning yourself with Trump could potentially harm you. And then I think, there will be work to do, but I do think women on a ballot in an election year like this could be a good thing for them. And so you may see a higher turnout from the Dems. You may see a higher turnout from the Dems voting for women. And so that might work in her favor as well. So I think there are some political winds that are shifting in her favor.
Okay,
Yeah, and I kind of feel like I kind of feel like the thing that'll hurt Filippo and by extension potential Stavros is not necessarily the Trump thing. I think things will level out, but it's going to be the fact that he's not from there. And then I'll just conclude by saying that race is going to go as the governor's race goes. People aren't spending a lot of time thinking about it. If the national atmospherics are okay and Lombardo's able to win, then Stavros probably wins, and vice versa if Ford wins.
Okay, so now let's throw in a wild card here, which is Turning Point. They played a large role in Filippo's win. They've got 200 volunteers on the ground, is my understanding, in Southern Nevada. They're planning to increase that and move into Northern Nevada. Annette, how much of a role do you think they're going to play?
I mean, it's nice that the right finally has an apparatus maybe to turn people out. I think this is something that the Dems have done really well across the state for years. And we have built a very strong apparatus. Some call it the Reed machine. I don't think it's that anymore. But, we have the 800-pound gorilla, which is the Culinary Union. We have had a history of being able to do turnout, to do really aggressive field operations, which still very much work all across Nevada. And so it's interesting to see the right try and replicate that. And it might be too little too late. I'm not sure that Turning Point really knows the state. They're a drop-in operation. They haven't been here very long. And so we'll have to see if they actually have any real credibility on the ground. I think Filippo benefited from a variety of things, as Warren was saying. And I think, unfortunately, because I really like and respect James Settlemeyer, Unfortunately, I think he was able to kind of bamboozle people into voting against James Settlemeyer. And so we have to see if they actually have the chops to do the field necessary to win a race like that.
Warren,
And
your thoughts on that?
I wouldn't focus on Turning Point as the epitome of the Republican turnout. I think Governor Lombardo is building a machine. There's a statistic I think that's very interesting that came out of the primary election, and that is that by far, this isn't surprising, by far mail-in ballots was the biggest percentage of how people cast their votes. But what the interesting thing to watch on some statistics I saw was it was the largest in rural Nevada. That means that Republicans are starting to embrace that. And that's really something that's been interesting. I've said, let's quit fighting about mail-in ballots, and let's embrace it and figure out how to do it better than the other side. And I think that's an indication, this primary election, that the number one method that rural Nevada selected was ballot. So Republicans are starting to embrace that, and I think that's going to have a bigger impact than almost anything.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll be back with these two right after this timeout.
Like a traditional handmade basket, retail is woven into the fabric of life in Nevada. From big box to mom and pop, retail supports our communities in countless ways. Jobs for the disabled, team uniforms for kids, help for the elderly, and so much more. Retail employs over 1 in 10 workers. Retail supports Nevada, and we support retail.
RANNV.org.
A power line is more than a power line. It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line.
The trucking industry is the most resilient link in the supply chain. And for over 90 years, the Nevada Trucking Association has been the voice for the men and women in the trucking industry. From Carson City to Washington, D.C., we advocate for policies to protect our trucking companies and keep commerce flowing. Because Nevada's and America's prosperity is tied to trucks. There's nothing without trucking.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Annette Magnus. She's the founder of AM Solutions, and former State Senator Warren Hardy, principal with the Hardy Consulting Group. So let's talk about these congressional races. So we'll start with you, Annette. Dina Titus wasn't happy with the redistricting, and now I think she has a serious race going on for the first time in a long time.
I worked for Congresswoman Titus for a very long time. I came up under her, and she always runs like she has a serious race. One of the things she taught us in political science was always run as if you're behind. And I think she's taken every race that she's always had seriously. She's one of those people that I think never takes anything for granted. And so she's going to go after Carrie Buck, just like she's gone after all her other opponents. And I think Congresswoman Titus will be just fine. Her district, she represents her district well. I think that, Carrie Buck has a history of not getting very much done in the Nevada legislature. If you really dive down, I don't think she's even passed a bill once. And so I think her record's going to speak for itself. And I think Dina's going to be just fine in that race. But I don't think you see Dina take it for granted. That's for sure.
Warren?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, again, national atmospherics, what's happening nationally, what's happening with the economy, all are going to make a difference. Here's the difference with Congresswoman Titus and a lot of Democrats. I have a very conservative client who shall remain nameless that does a trip to Washington D.C. every year. We've had regularly Democratic lawmakers from Nevada that don't want to meet with them. Dina meets with them every time and takes the time necessary to sit down and understand the issues. Dina Titus, in my opinion, is a very good legislator from a lot of different perspectives, including how she treats her constituency. And so I think in a tight race, that's gonna serve her well. I would never, under any circumstances, bet against Dina Titus and now Nicole Cannizzaro.
All right, well let's move on to Susie Lee. That is the swingiest of districts. Warren, your thoughts on that race?
That could be close. Again, that's going to come down once again to national atmospherics, and things aren't good. Things have not looked good for Republicans, but if in that regard. But if things start to swing, because I think we forget, it's not. I know Democrats love to run against Trump, but he's representing a smaller and smaller portion of the Republican base. That's shrinking quickly. And so that's hard to calculate into. And so I just think that race is going to come down to what's happening at the national level. We don't have a, president at the top of the ticket. So it's just going to all depend on the economy.
You know what's funny, Annette, is that there's a lot more money floating around this cycle being an off year, no Senate race, no presidential race. The gubernatorial race is bringing in a lot of cash, and it's going to be even more before we're done. Does that surprise you at all?
It doesn't. I mean, I was really hoping that would happen because we don't want what happened in 2014 happening again. And we need to take all of these races seriously. And there's an opportunity to make sure that some of the constitutional offices stay in Democrat control. And I think that's going to be important. But as for Susie Lee's race, I mean, I live in Congressional District 3. It is a swingy district, but I do think Susie represents this district well. I think she has had a history of trying to be nonpartisan in the way she takes her votes, and sometimes, to my dismay, a little too nonpartisan. But I also think the opponent that she's running against, I've done a little digging on him, and I don't even think you have to tie him to Trump. Some of the stuff that's come out of his own mouth is pretty extreme, especially for a district like ours. And I'm already getting mail for Susie on some of the bills that she's working on. I'm already starting to see ads for Susie. She's taking this very seriously, and I think her work will speak for itself.
All right, let's take another break, and we'll be right back.
The Nevada Builders Alliance has been protecting the interests of the construction industry for over 50 years. Our programs save members thousands of dollars every year and allow them to provide much-needed benefits to their employees. Our industry also allows Nevada to grow. If you're thinking about a career in the construction industry, reach out. And if you haven't thought of a career in construction, what are you waiting for? We are the Nevada Builders Alliance.
As you know, Reno is booming. Toll's development company is helping it grow with insightful design and development, building community with every project, adding beauty, adding excitement, emphasizing our shared humanity. Reno is becoming bigger. Toll's development is helping it become better, more livable, more enjoyable. To learn more, go to tollsdevelopment.com. tollsdevelopment.com.
2025 is bringing big changes for Nevada businesses. If you have more than 5 employees and have been operating for 3 years or more, you must now comply with new state retirement plan mandates. The Vegas Chamber 401k plan makes it easy, offering a proven, customizable, and cost-effective plan for employers and employees to save with tax advantages. Visit vegaschamber.com to explore options and see how the Vegas Chamber can help you start saving for your future.
We're the Peters family, 2 combat veterans, our daughter Elle, and our Liberty Dogs puppy in training, Cooper.
Cooper will grow up to be a life-changing companion to a veteran with visible or invisible challenges.
We're helping Cooper build focus and confidence so he's ready to support his veteran.
And we know he will help bring happiness and independence to his veteran's life.
So join us, become a puppy raiser, and change lives, one puppy at a time.
This is Nevada Newsmakers.
And back on Nevada Newsmakers, we continue our conversation with Warren Hardy and Annette Magnus, the rise of Democratic Socialists. Annette?
Well, that could be a whole show. I think it's a very
It will
interesting
be.
trend. I think it's a very interesting trend that's happening in other places in the country. You actually saw it happen in Colorado. You saw it a little bit in New York. It didn't happen as much here, and I think that they're going to have to go back to the drawing board because I don't think they're getting much traction here yet.
Warren, Tick Sigelblom is not unhappy.
I just hope they keep pushing it because that's not sustainable nationally, and it's certainly not sustainable in Nevada. Nevada is unquestionably more moderate than most purple states. And so I think it's a trend that's not going to serve the Democrats well, and I just don't think it's going to work.
And that's where we have to leave it. Thank you both very much. Great conversation. Really appreciate you both. Come back soon.
Always a pleasure.
Thanks. All right. Bye-bye now, and we'll be right back.
At Nevada Urban Indians in Reno, your health is our priority. Our medical clinic welcomes everyone. We accept all insurances, ensuring quality care is within reach. Nevada Urban Indians, your partners in health.
Fantastic cocktails and delicious food.
It's a good time to eat.
Over 500 hot slots, plus electronic table games.
It's a good time to play.
Player rewards and big-time jackpots.
It's a good time to win.
Ooh, good times are tamarack.
Imagine a magical garden that feeds Carson City's hungry and homeless, teaches our high school students agriculture, creates hanging floral displays to beautify downtown, and yet charges nothing. It's not magic. It's the Greenhouse Project. It's real, it's growing, and it needs your help. Go online to carsоncitygreenhouse.org so together we can grow it forward.
Welcome to the Ahern Boutique Hotel, where luxury and warmth come together in the heart of Las Vegas.
We take pride in offering a one-of-a-kind experience for both locals and tourists.
Join us for handcrafted cocktails and an unforgettable experience.
Joel's Chop House, the perfect place to savor views of the Las Vegas Strip.
Satisfy your cravings at the Ahern Chocolate Shop.
No smoking, no resort fees, and the parking is always free. The Ahern Luxury Boutique Hotel is your home away from home.
Each day, the Children's Advocacy Alliance partners with leaders, legislators, and families across Nevada to improve children's health, education, economic well-being, and safety. We recognize Nevada will be no better than the state of its children. Be a part of this change. Be a supporter of the Children's Advocacy Alliance. For more information, go to caanv.org.
It happens. And when it does, there's UMC Quick Care.
Nevada Newsmakers is available as a podcast. It's also available on YouTube anytime you want to watch or listen. Thanks for watching Nevada Newsmakers.